built another major palace, al-Zahira. Now, the spirit that they had in building these large buildings was not actually the same spirit as the foundation. And one of the great scholars named Ibn Khaldun, who wrote a book called the Muqaddimah, or a chapter called the Muqaddimah, Introduction, it shows, it gives a concept of history, and especially Islamic. And what it shows us is that when the Muslims are healthy, and when they are practicing the Sunnah, when they are focusing on the dunya and akhirah, that Allah gives them authority in that. But the next generation, who is born in a state of peace and authority, if they do not continue to struggle against evil things around them, they become a little bit lazy. The next generation that comes, they are born in many cases, especially the rulers, they are born in a state of wealth. And if they do not strive against evil things, if they do not strive in their learning, then they can actually get caught up in materials. And so this structure, Medina al-Zahra and al-Zahira, it started to reach a level that was beyond the normal way of the Sunnah. It began to waste for them. And when Mansour sat inside of his beautiful palace, he had a man-made lake, and he had a special seat inside of the lake with gems and pearls and water falling down. And then he heard a voice. His tears came to his eyes. And he was being told that you have this now, but soon it will be taken away. And one of the poets who came from North he looked at this palace and he said, "O Medina al-Zahra, you have been built by every home in Spain and Andalusia, and one day you will build every home." And by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a major revolution happened in the society. The rich were oppressing the poor, and the two big palaces were actually, they were destroyed. And the people used the wealth and the tiles and the ceramics to rebuild their houses, because they were forced to build the beautiful palace. And so with this a type of equilibrium, they came back to the society. And one of the issues that was also happening during this time is that the weak rulers, the princes, weak princes in different sections of Spain today, like Valencia. Now, when most of the young people here, they think of the Islamic people. Right, when you go to different sections, you will see that these were actually Islamic areas. But the prince then, in a weak-minded move, he starts struggling against another Muslim. And then sometimes he goes to the Christians and says, "Help me against this other Muslim." So the Christians said, "Fine." And they defeated the Muslim, and then the Christian killed him. And so this continues. This is weakness, and you can look at our situation today and some of the deception and treachery in our own nation that is happening. And this is a perfect example of what can happen if we do not stick to our roots. And so, slowly but surely, the Catholic forces began to conquer from the north and take sections back until they came down into Cordoba itself. Now, this is the masjid of Cordoba. And if you can see properly on the bottom here, this is leading up to see the beautiful arches there. But on the ground are graves. They started to put the graves of their rich people in the mosque. And they started putting in statues and gargoyles and crosses and all types of superstitious figures all around the building. And subhanAllah, we went inside of the building and we went to the mihrab. Because the Catholic king, when he took over, he wanted to destroy the whole masjid. But his builders came to him as architects, and they said, "We cannot destroy this building. It is one of the wonders of the world. We do not have the knowledge to build something like this. Let's convert it into a church." So they converted it into a church. But you go there up until say the mihrab is there. The khutbah, the dome is still there. And we took a group and we were inside there and we looked inside Mihrab and it's saying, Subhanallah, Amma yushrikun. Saying, glory be to Allah over all of their polytheism. And there was a Spanish tour guide to show you what happens inside the tour. One brother from Pakistan, he came inside and he wanted to make 2 rakats. He said, I'm going to make 2 rakats. The soldier came with a gun and put it on him and said, get up. And with a gun, took him on. That's how vicious they up until today. One of the tour guides inside of there now, he said to the people, he was speaking in Spanish, so we asked one of the Spanish Muslims, go with the group like a tourist and tell us what he thinks. The Spanish tour guide said to the people, this is the Mihrab, and the ghost of Muhammad lives inside. And if you say something against Islam, the ghost will come out and get you. That's what he said. This is the distortion that they push inside of the house of Allah. We have to recognize that fighting for power, tribalism, one group against another, Arab versus non-Arab, light skin versus dark skin, Persian versus Turkish. Any of these divisions, tribalism and squabbling when it comes in, leaving the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, drinking wine, spending too much time in the life of this world, this is what took away the power and authority of Muslims. It is the clearest example in the whole of our nation. Because remember, they had the largest city on earth. Now, following this, and this is the will of Allah, around the year 1039, a man by the name of Abdullah H, he left from the city of Qayrawan, remember that's the spiritual capital, and he went to Morocco, and he developed a group that is known as Al-Murabitun. These are the people of Iraq, the people who spend their time in the path of Allah, who spread the message, and who stand up for the righteous, and they forbid evil. Abdullah ibn Yasin, he went to a Berber tribe called the Sanhaja, and he went to the Lamtuna. Now these are the groups that take you across the desert. Look at the pictures of Sahara Desert. You see the one where the men cover their face and wear a veil on their face in the desert. These are Hawaiian. Okay, and they are Berbers. And they originally, the 2 major tribes were Sanhaja and the Lamtuna. And so, he spread Islam amongst these people, and the Murabitun movement, it found a lot of support. And it started to develop, a section developed in North Africa, and a section went down into West Africa. The capital of the Murabitun was a city called Marrakesh. If you go to Morocco today, you will see up until now the Red Sea. And these are pictures from Marrakesh itself. This is the famous dome, the minaret out in Marrakesh. And this is where the Murabitun made their base. And it was an amazing movement. And they went across until they reached Senegal, east down into West Africa along the Niger River, and they spread Islam in that region. Thousands came in, and the West African nations of Mandinka and Fulani and different nations, Baninke, took the banner from them and began spreading Islam all across West Africa. So this is how the Murabitun would go. They don't want your base. They would come down here, go across on caravan. This was all day. And when you go across on the bottom, you have Ghana, Gao, Canada, Waterloo. These are all fabulous cities because they discovered gold in this area. They have the biggest gold deposits on earth at that time in a place now called Mali on the Niger River. And so a brisk gold trade came across. And these cities became fabulously rich. And they also became centers of Islam there across the desert. In 1061, one of the leaders of the Murabitun, his name was Yusuf bin Tashmir. He was appointed Yamir. And it is reported he was a man of 70 years old. He was very tall,